Oops. Sorry. Let me read the public forum before we get started. Those interested are invited to address the Hope Suicide Prevention Task Force on any subject not on today's agenda, orally via Zoom webinar. Speakers may provide their name and city of residence for the record, and comments may be limited to 3 minutes or less at the discretion of the meeting coordinator. As an item not listed on the agenda, no response is required from the city staff or the Hope Suicide Task Force, and no action can be taken. Okay. How's everyone doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Good. Do we have any new members? We need to do introductions.
I don't think so. It looks like we recognize everybody who's here, and you have no attendees
in the
yeah.
Thanks for checking, Tegan, because once I share the agenda, my view is so limited. But yeah, our first thing on our agenda is an update from Jay.
Hi, everyone. I don't know if I have too much to update on right now from the suicide prevention program. Our campaign, our gun safety campaign, just went off the air actually, but we're still happy to get the materials out, and that webpage is going to be up just forever pretty much. And we're still actually still trying to get some evaluations. We saw an increase in a bunch of our evaluation surveys having been taken, and we think maybe that was because some San Jose City Council folks kind of like put it out there. So that was great, just because we're excited about gun safety being a part of their agenda and trying to get this like the word out there for suicide prevention. So that was really great. And second, we have Charu sent out the flyer again for the assist training. So please register for that if you'd like to attend. It's a great training, and I think from us, that's mostly what we've got on the agenda. I know that the interventions work group has a subgroup that John Macon is on, and we just had our first meeting yesterday. That went really well. Excited to see where that goes. It was really nice to have John on, and John's actually heading that subgroup. So I think that's going to focus on older adults, and hopefully that something really good comes of that work. We're looking at the Barbara Lee Center to be kind of a focal point for something we might be trying to get off the ground. So I think that's pretty much everything that we've got, unless I'm forgetting something. But if it comes up, I will try to mention it during the meeting.
Thank you, Jay. I think you got everything. Jasmine has few spots open on assist, I think now 4 or 5, I want to say. So if someone knows someone who wants to attend the training, it's coming up. Please register with Jasmine Lopez. And the next item is me. We already did the assist update, but we had a group on February 2nd with our seniors. And I would really like to thank Liliana for leading us, guiding us into mindfulness with that group. They seem to like it a lot, and it's moving on fairly well, that group. I think a lot of our seniors who are isolated are finding a avenue to come and gather, and although it was on Zoom, when we had in person was even much better response. So looking forward to our next one in April. And assist, like I said, we already did the update. Again, only few spots are open. Please go ahead and register if you want to. The training for both those days is local in Milpitas. It will be happening at our Barbara Lee Senior Center. And next item on our agenda, which is going to take most of our meeting time today, is planning for the future. So if nobody has any more updates, then we can jump to that one with Taken.
Great, thank you. So if you were with us last spring, you remember it took us several meetings worth of discussions to arrive at what we wanted to do for our goals for this year. It's perfect that the way Charu has the agenda right now, we can see what our work groups are for this year. So last spring, we we're talking about, continuing our diversity group and our teens transitional youth group. But we also came up with the idea at a meeting like this last year to start up our partnership with public safety and our AAPI empowerment group. So really, this is an open discussion today to find out what areas we want to focus on, if there are things that we still want to do in those 4 work groups that we have running right now, or if there are new work groups that we want to consider. We particularly would be interested in things that are near and dear to the hearts of HOPE members who work for other organizations besides the city, so that we can get, some more active involvement in making progress that involves all of us. So I would love to, I have some ideas, but I'd love to hear first what other people are feeling about. I guess let's start with the work groups we have right now. Are there things that you would still like to see us do in those areas for diversity, teens, the public safety partnership, and AAPI empowerment? Are they done with their work, or do they have more yet to do?
Personally, I think the work groups, some of them started off strong and then maybe waned a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think the work groups as a standing item, like not a standing item, but to keep them a part of this is a good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And just maybe in the new year, we'll have like a reinvigorated kind of like, let's do a kickoff meeting and then be a little more consistent with how they are, because I think some of the products of the work groups was great. And I think that was one of the best products and goals from last setting period. So I vote yay for work groups. Yeah.
Thank you, Jay.
And Tegan, I agree with Jay. I think just for instance, in regard to the teens and transitional youth, I think there's certainly more work to be done. We do need to kind of get reinvigorated moving forward. And Pastor Mize and Marcia Gurley, and Dawn's part of that group, and Anthony and I. So I think there is some more. So we would like to keep that. But to Jay's point, just kind of reinvigorated and get back on track. I would like to suggest maybe Jay referenced the older adult subgroup. That might be an area that we can potentially add as we're doing more work in that area for the older adults, for the seniors.
Great.
So I think that if the work group have some specific projects, either one-time or ongoing projects that the work group decide that they would like to organize or to hold on a regular basis, I think that would help with the work group members to be more focused and motivated, because we know that there is something that we want to work on, that we want to focus on. Rather than just meet and talk, but not having any specific objectives or projects to work on. That will be, eventually either people lose interest or it fades away. But if we have specific project, either one time, twice, or ongoing, that would help us sort of like put it on the agenda or put on the radar that we know that this is going to happening and what we expected to do and the goal and the objective and so on. That would help.
Yeah. I think one more thing that we can add is veterans, maybe to, and this could be part of a diversity group, the older adults, veterans, LGBTQ, and I don't know if that's a project that diversity group would like to pick up for the next year. I know for teen and transitional youth, like Lan said, we do have a big project coming up, like movie, which we finalized the dates and everything is good to go in April. So I think that will be a big project this year for that group. And RP is just picking up. So I would still give it a few more sessions to see if we pick up momentum on that group. Because the first group for RP is this Wednesday, tomorrow.
One thing that is like sort of related to that, it's a little dovetailed, Tegan, so sorry, but another kind of goal setting thing that might be helpful is thinking about the screening, the movie screening. That could be one, I don't know, it can be even something as simple as like provide one screening for the public per year or something like that, or do 2 public events per year, one geared towards, you know, younger folks, one geared toward older, something like that. But you know, it's a nice like concrete goal to try to achieve. So that could be something to think about.
Yeah. And that's a good one, Jay, you bring up, because me and John, we had a discussion, and Marsha and Pastor Mice, about bringing resources to our community once a year and having an open mic evening where people just gathered, maybe no agenda, but there's different nonprofits and other places who are doing resource tabling. And at the same time, we're giving that platform to people to share their stories. So that kind of an event, I think, is very doable, and maybe we should just target on doing that in the fall or winter.
So maybe an event work group it would perhaps be its own thing, rather than if we wanted to continue to do events. That would be
good. I
good.
think that would be good, Tegan. Yeah. And I do know MUST wants to do one combined.
Other things that you feel passionately about, things that we are not doing right now that you would like to see Hope do? I personally was wondering if there is something that we could do in the area of gun safety to kind of mirror what county's doing and support what they're doing there. So I would like to throw that out as an idea for us to consider.
Maybe there's something there in the collaboration with public safety, with, you know, the police department or something that could be part of planning. I do know also, Tegan and Captain Jameson, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this. I think there's a gun gun buyback planning meeting on Thursday for Milpitas. I believe that's what it is, and I don't think I can actually attend, so I'm going to have to get updated on that afterwards. But there might be a gun buyback event. So if you're looking for like a specific thing to plan for gun safety, I think that would be a great place to start.
Yeah, I don't know the exact time of the meeting, but I mean, I think that's a great idea as far as collaborating. I mean, maybe it's something we can talk about next week, Tegan, during our meeting. Excuse me. As far as like maybe some social media outreach or something to that nature.
Okay.
That we can do to assist.
That sounds good.
I think for AA empowerment, we probably have just missed a window, and probably in the next few years or so, thinking about, for example, to have a small event to celebrate Lunar New Year for API community, for example, 1 or 2 hours. Maybe because like there are several ethnic Asian groups here to celebrate Lunar New Year, like Vietnamese, Chinese, Korean, Mongolian, all those countries, they celebrate those.
Right.
And a small event like that will probably get the community together, and that probably is an opportunity for API empowerment. But we just missed it, and also we in the COVID.
I know. We were supposed to have a big celebration for the Chinese Lunar New Year, and the thing is that we had to put it on Zoom again because we were closed. But next year. Yeah. And I'm hoping the API, the town halls will pick up momentum by then, and then we can merge it all together and have a big celebration and awareness. Yeah. But you're right. I think we did miss a big window. If we did it last week, it would have been a good one. But we are not too far. I'm sure the celebrations will continue all of February. We'll see how tomorrow goes. Liliana, you had something.
Yeah, I like what you said about the, I had a couple of things. I like what you said about the veterans, and going along with what Lan said is maybe like Cinco de Mayo, do something for the Latinx community, and maybe Veterans Day, maybe Hope can join the veterans, be part of the, have a table for the Veterans Day ceremony. So I like how you're going to put that into diversity. And also I was wondering if that as we look at all these communities, that we don't forget the adults in between that don't belong to too young or too old, right? Because I'm sure you have something. I know that I kind of walked into the middle of Hope, so just throwing that in. Thank you.
Mhm.
There are so many subgroups we would really, I mean, I feel passionately about isolated mothers, especially immigrants who don't have a community here. And I see a lot of mental health issues with that community, and not having enough to support them. And also men, especially men find it really hard, as you all know, to seek services. So just having some groups targeted towards men who don't really fit into older adults or younger crowd. So they're in between. So I think we have a lot of work in the coming years. But if we pick 2 or 3 communities to target, and then that continues on and on, we can build on that list.
Charlie, I see Anthony has his hand up.
Oh, yes, Anthony.
Yeah, so I also wanted to include in reference to the teen and transitional youth, as we're, hopefully clawing our way out of COVID, there is going to be a lot of things that I'm expecting to do with the Teen Center specifically. So there will be kind of a call out over these next few months onward, for different offerings for this group specifically, not necessarily just driven at participation. Obviously we want to give kids a place to go to, but we also want to give them something to take away from as well. So, I'll be working thoroughly with this group to ask of any sort of resources that we can provide to teens, whether that's putting on different workshops or things of that sort. Obviously our goal is to provide them with a space, but two, I'm very passionate in the sense that we want to be able to give them something to take away from it as well. So that'll be kind of a call to action as we go through these months and kind of move our way out. And hopefully by summertime, we can start kind of pushing some real things through. So I will, if there's things on your guys' mind, offerings that you can think of, please do reach out to me.
Perfect. And Anthony, you already have access to our virtual guide. So there are 3 groups coming up for teens, which is a good takeaway for them. There's one on bullying prevention. Bill Wilson is doing another one for our LGBTQ youth. And I do have one more for the teens that doesn't come to my mind right now, but I'll send the updates to the group as we have the flyers.
Yeah, I'm really looking at our pivot into returning back to in-person. So those types of things that we can do. Also, Lieutenant Jameson, we're going to be looking at some stuff with PD. I've been speaking with Spec on the side about some things that we want to do as we try to target a specific group of students. So I'll kind of speak with him and hopefully we can kind of circle back on that, because I know we had to put some things on the back burner. So
will the in-person be at the senior center? Because the old teen center is part of the sports center, right?
So the teen center actually is now located in the senior center. So we're at this point in time, that's where we'll be opening back up as that facility was. There has been some talk of us potentially doing some offerings through the sports center, but that's nothing that's been solidified. But I know that I'm working really closely with John and my supervisor as we look to really kind of create a space for the teens at that senior center. So that's something that we're kind of working through this year. But as far as offerings, we have a great space to do it. So, we'll be looking to take advantage of that.
About some of the folks we haven't heard from yet, do you have thoughts on areas that we are missing or areas that would be beneficial for us to add try something? Have you heard of anything that other organizations are doing that you think, gosh, we really should be doing that here in Milpitas? It's awfully quiet.
So I might have missed something at the beginning, but I'm sorry if I missed it. So had anyone mentioned about something about, for example, the Cultural Diversity Day, like where a day that every culture comes together and we have like resources and so on, or just simply, or any community center in the city that serve any specific community, for example, and or general resources from City of Milpitas that the people can access, or even county and so on.
Mm-hmm. So that's a great idea. We don't have a specific event that is geared to all cultures at the same time, but we certainly try to wrap all cultures and community groups into our larger events, like Holiday Magic just had a day that had the different cultural communities featured. So it would be great for us to sort of try to involve Hope in the different events that we have going forward. Rather than Hope having to plan the whole event, maybe there's a piece of the event that we can do.
Yeah.
So that would be certainly something we can suggest.
Yeah.
And then go ahead.
Yeah. Sorry, finish it. Yeah.
Oh, I was just going to say, as far as resources go, we do have a couple of resource things that we created. One being the Survivor's Guide. And we've got, some information on our website, but if there's something that we particularly should focus on, or a resource that we're missing that we need to share with the Milpitas community, I do hope you guys will let us know what we seem to be lacking and can add to our library of resources for people.
Yeah, I think Magic on Main was well attended, and we had people from different backgrounds attend that event. We did have Hope tabling there, but maybe next year, if we have a work group which is mostly event focused, it would be a good idea to pair up with that event and just do a lot of resource and just talking to the community, more members showing up. That could be a good one. Because if we do a standalone event, I'm sure we are not going to get as many people as we got at Magic on Main. Yeah.
And obviously we have 4th of July coming up. That's a big, well-attended event. Maybe there's something that Hope can do at that event when we've got such a large audience there.
So, maybe Tegan, we need to know who wants to be part of the events group.
Oh, yeah, I thought we would probably just get the brainstorming done this time and then come back next time with some, more concrete decisions. If you recall, last year, what we did was came back and we had lots of great ideas on the list, but we decided to focus our new efforts on AAPI empowerment and the partnership with public safety, because that's what we had people who are willing to do. So maybe prior to our next meeting, we can share a little list of these ideas that we've come up with here and see if you guys bring any to the next meeting, and also have you think about, gosh, if I were to spend some of my time helping Hope, where would I like to help? What would I like to do? And where could I contribute? And I think that would be really helpful. I think that having the people to drive it is going to help us really keep it invigorated. Like Lance said, sometimes we have these groups and we don't meet regularly, or we don't have a specific project in mind, and they sort of fizzle a bit. But if there's a particular project that somebody really wants to accomplish, then raise your hand. I see, Tom, you have your hand up. Are you volunteering or suggesting an idea?
No, as a retired military, I never volunteer for anything. No, I was raising my hand because at the last meeting, I brought up the subject of the unhoused. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if we really did anything in that regard. The one thing I was concerned about was getting some insight into whether the suicide might be something that was afflicting that particular group of individuals more so than it might other groups, just simply because so many of the individuals in that group are suffering from, and I don't want to get into saying a specific, there are many reasons for individuals being on the street, and they cover a multitude of areas, and too often we have individuals that like to pigeonhole the unhoused. Most of them are either mentally deficient in some way, shape, or form, or most of them are on drugs, or most of them are something or other. I don't know what most of them are, other than most of them are in a position of not having a place, not having a roof over their head, other than the tent that Hope for the Unhoused provides, or provides a sleeping bag, for them to sleep in, etc. I don't know to what extent, as I say, the fact that they're in such desperate straits causes them to want to bring, life to a conclusion in some way, shape, or form. And I was wondering to what extent this group ought to focus some attention in that particular area. I know we had a report from the task force then, and I was never more disappointed with the efforts of a task force than I was with that particular group, having served on task force in the past. But it appears to me like the only thing that too many individuals are more concerned about are making sure that there aren't individuals that are dirtying up our streets or whatever locations, other than they are concerned with the whether it be physical or mental health of those particular individuals that are unfortunate enough to not be able to have a roof over their heads. And enough for my preaching for today. But yeah,
definitely a segment of the community that might benefit from something that we could do. So I think we should consider that and see if there's, an area that we can put a little attention.
Yeah, as I say, I don't know to what extent there is an issue in that community that needs to be addressed, or whether the expenditure of any effort specifically directed to that particular community would have any particular value for the amount of effort that might be involved. I know there is like Hope for the Unhoused is constantly reaching out to that community in terms of providing food 2 to 3 times a week. So there are a group of individuals that are in constant contact. So if we were to reach out to those individuals and through them reach out to the unhoused community, that and that's the other interesting point. There's the unhoused community that is in a situation where they don't have a roof over their heads, and then there's the unhoused community that are couch surfing, so to speak. So they fortunately are able to find shelter in some form or another because there are families that are willing to allow, particularly the younger folk to be able to have a place to stay as opposed to being on the street. And then there are those individuals that are living in cars, and there is no place in this particular town where one can park that vehicle with and not be certain that the police will come along and shoo them off because they're inappropriately parked someplace, because we don't have a location that's vetted, so to speak, or supported by the city itself, although many other communities have now by this point provided that. But that's I'm starting to get off and on a tangent there. But the point being is the unhoused community has several different forms, from those that are literally living on the street, and those that are living in cars, and those that are living with a large S of people in the community that are willing to provide temporary shelter for those individuals, hopefully hoping that circumstance will change in a not too distant future. But Jay, you weren't able to the last time, and I don't imagine anything has particularly changed in the month, but you don't have any information as to what the county, if the county has any information as to the situation with regard to unhoused individuals and how they may, and whether they're having a bigger problem in the area of suicide-related circumstances?
So I mentioned this last time, but so in general, suicide is a prominent issue in transient populations unhoused, but the county, because they are, for lack of it just is the situation, they're impossible to count accurately. We don't know rates there, so we can't compare the rate of a population to like what the general population is. So what we do get is we do collect data on those that die by suicide if they are transient. So we can say what percentage of the suicides or what portion of suicides we have in a given year are transient, and then we can say, moving from year to year, whether that proportion is increasing, but that's also not telling us too much if we don't have other pieces of the data there. So it's like sort of a catch-22, like they're just at the nature of being unhoused kind of disallows you to be counted more or less, and that's what stinks about it. So we just collect what we can.
What I don't recall if you shared that percentage with us last time. Do you
I don't know it offhand. I would have to go and find it, basically run the numbers on it and see what we have. But we have our data reports, and would be able to, it might even be listed directly already analyzed in the reports, but I'd have to go take a check.
Okay. Thanks, Jay.
Yeah.
Maybe I can put that on an agenda item next time, Jay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. And perhaps maybe, Tom, I can suggest something because I think working as a social services coordinator for the last 1.5 years, I've learned a few things along the way. I think with the Milpitas community, we do have Dignity on Wheels every Sunday, or maybe two times a month. But we do have some resources in place for the unhoused population, and perhaps we can partner with those resources to provide more for our unhoused folks.
Well, Dignity on Wheels does provide
Yes.
showers once a week on Sundays,
Right.
over by the library on
Right.
at the street there that used to.
Yeah. And I can, we can, when Tegan and I bring the proposal for our next month's meeting, like what moving forward, that can be one of the items where we can propose to meet with the library and Dignity on Wheels and come up with a shared resources kind of maybe that's one event that happens, a resource and referral for unhoused folks.
Well,
I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. But yeah.
Hope for the Unhoused actually runs a store, so to speak, at that event every week.
Yeah,
They set up a couple of I should say seeing as how I'm part of the group, but we set up a couple of pup tents, so to speak, or whatever, pop-ups is the word, and have racks of clothes and shoes and all kinds of things, and bring and go out actually and buy underwear for both men and women, so that when they finish showering, they have clean underwear to get into. And we also provide them with hygiene kits, which we put together and purchase the contents thereof. So that, and Yoli Garcia is the principal focus on that particular organization. So she'd be a good one to speak with.
Right. I'm in constant touch with Hope for the Unhoused folks. So maybe we can suggest what's doable on our end in our next meeting, and then we can take it from there.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I didn't mean to take up the whole meeting.
No.
It sounds like we have lots of great ideas of organizations and groups that we would, like to target. We've got some good ideas about the ways that we might like to contribute to the community. I'm hearing both, making resources available, which we've done in the past, but we certainly can, work on that, improving that and doing it again. And I've heard events where we're bringing the community together and raising awareness at events. So I'm hearing both target audiences and strategies for reaching them, I guess, is kind of the various ways that we're speaking about this. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to add to the list, or would now be a good time to kind of end that discussion and bring it back later when we've had time to think about it?
I think you mentioned an interesting point earlier, Tegan, that we want Hope to be able to participate in those events rather than having to host all those events ourselves.
For sure.
Because that'd be a lot of work. So if there are events already, it's probably we can strategize about how to participate. But I mean, unless there is specific citywide event that's sponsored or hosted by the city, that's probably something else. But probably,
maybe that's a thing for us, for city staff to bring back next time, is kind of a list of what we know going forward are on the calendar as events, and then Hope can look at it and see, how this group might contribute to those events. And do we want to, have a table, or do we want to, do something more active than waiting for people to come to us to request information? So,
well, I think the fact of the matter is there are very few organizations any longer that have the bandwidth to conduct an event that can be expected to bring out a large segment of the population other than the city any longer. I know, and I used to be in a previous life, I guess, when I was a lot younger, on the board of the Chamber of Commerce, and the chamber used to do, the Art and Wine Festival and the Barbecue Festival, and which was a reincarnation thereof. But there no longer is the Chamber of Commerce got a bandwidth any longer to put on that kind of an event. So we almost have to count on, being a part of some event that the city anticipates conducting that has the potential for bringing out a large segment of the population. And hopefully, as part of that, we can then, by, attract some of those individuals and be able to impart some of our wisdom, so to speak, on some parts of this population.
So the next meeting, you'll bring a big list and then we will narrow it down. All right.
That's what I was thinking, and I was actually thinking I would not just bring it, but send it to you in advance with some, things for you to think about. And it would be great if people came back to that meeting with ideas of where they personally feel like they could contribute, because it doesn't help us to identify an area for us to focus on if we don't have people who are able to, contribute the time and the ideas and the effort to do it.
Great.
And we know we can't do everything, so we've got to focus it down, narrow it down somehow or other. Yeah. Good. Okay, well, thank you. I guess I'm done with my item. I took a lot of notes while we were talking.
Thank you. Thank you, Tegan. And I know I do apologize when Lan was here at our first meeting. I know this is your second meeting, Lan, and we didn't do introductions for you. So I think if we just go around and quickly introduce ourselves to Lan, who's a new member.
Oh.
Yeah. Yes, I know. And I promised you that we would next time. So we can start with Tom.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
I'm just generally the archetypical grouchy old man. I guess the reason I'm part of this group is I've been able to breathe, continue to breathe for 82 years. So, but I was on the board of the chamber for almost 20 years, and been a member of the community and a thorn in the side of the city council for many years also.
Thank you, Tom. John?
Yes, hi, Lon. My name is John Macon. I've been here with the city of Milpitas for a little bit over 5 years as recreation supervisor, and grateful to be part of Milpitas Hope since the beginning.
Thank you, John. Liliana?
Hi, I joined Hope as representative of the veterans community. I'm a military vet, and I'm also a therapist, so I want to help in some way towards our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Liliana. And I think you know Jay, but if Jay wants to introduce himself quickly.
Yeah, Jay is like, I just see him like almost every week.
Hey, Lon. I'm Jay.
How about Tyler? Lieutenant Jamison?
Hey, Lon. Hi, Lon. Tyler Jamison, representative of the police department. Obviously wanted to be a part of this. I've been on peer support for the last 10 years, so it's definitely something that's always been near and dear to me.
Thank you. So clean.
Hey, I'm Suqueen, and I'm kind of just being a voice for the youth of the community.
Thank you, so clean. Anthony? Maybe he's off. Vince?
Hi, Lon. My name is Vince. I'm one of the recreation assistants here in the city of Milpitas, and I'm assisting with taking notes for this HOPE meeting, actually.
Thank you, Vince. And Pastor Mice, I was saving you for the last this time, again.
Best for last.
Pastor at Cathedral of Faith. Our building is on Main Street, right next door to the green building that's being renovated. That will become an adult senior day center, I believe. I found out just recently. So we're right next door to them.
Oh, you are next door to them. Okay.
Yeah. Right in the back, behind the liquor store.
Okay. Thank you. And Lan, you know me, I'm now the senior special, goodness, don't I always forget it. But I'm working part-time with the Wrecking Community Services with the city of Milpitas. I'm the projects associate now.
Great.
And I will see you at our UPI group tomorrow, Lan and Liliana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for introducing yourself and let me know more about you. I am Lan Nguyen. I think my name is right there on a little box. And I work for the County Behavioral Health Services Department. I've been with the county for 22 years now. My role at the county is that I'm the manager of the County Suicide and Crisis Services. But there are people who know me on my other hat rather than my official hat for the county because I was pretty active in the Vietnamese community for a long time and also with other community because I served on the school board of the East Side Junior High School District for 16 years. I just decided to not run for re-election last year because I had 2 teenage boys at home that I think they need me more at home than anything else. So I'm taking a few years break and just stay home and hang out with the boys until they go to college. And then my wife say, "Hey, you go do something else. You know, tired of seeing me." Then I run for office again. But you know, that's what I've been doing and been pretty active with the local Asian community, and therefore I guess that's why Chero asked me to join the AAPI empowerment community. Yeah, and I know most of your council members anyway. So I mean, I think I have pretty good relationship with them in a way that if we need support, I can get them to support in some ways with whatever Hope is doing. So.
Thank you, Lan. Thank you so much. And we are glad you are with us at our meetings now and also helping us with API. So thank you. Our next meeting will be March 9th at the same time, 4 p.m. and see you all then. Thank you all for coming.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.